What is up, Facebook world, YouTube world, wherever you are watching this? I am excited. I tried to start this last week and the internets didn't like it, but I'm back. And so this is episode number 1 of Entrepreneur Spotlight. And I wanted to just every week connect with a local entrepreneur, if possible, from Dallas, Fort Worth, and just use my audience to put them in front of it, because these people, men and women, have amazing businesses that offer all different types of services. And so I'm excited to introduce you guys to Marvin Arts Jr. Marvin and I, he and his wife, Ebony, and my wife, we went to church together back in the day. We've known each other for about 10 years. And I'm excited for you guys to get to know him as well. So I'm going to pull him up here into this feed. Marvin, what is up, man?
Hey, how's it going? How are you doing this evening?
Dude, I'm doing great. I'm locked in my bedroom. My kids have not banged on the door yet. And so all is well in the Draper house. How is it in the Arts house this evening?
It's going pretty good. We're hanging in there. Of course, you know, my wife is a school teacher, so she's starting summer school today. So they're going to be doing all of that virtually. So, and I'm still hard at work myself, going into work every day and just going about my normal routine.
Come on. So you are like, you're hustling right now because you have a 9-to-5, right? Like people would call it.
Yes,
and then the business that I want people to know about is not your 9-to-5. It would be your side hustle that you hope to hustle it enough to become your actual thing.
Yep.
So tell us what do you do? What do you do for a living? And then tell us about, Get Noticed resumes and more.
Yeah. Great question. So what I currently do, I work for the North Texas Food Bank. I do HR. I'm an HR business partner with the North Texas Food Bank. So I handle all HR responsibilities within the food bank. And so you're talking about training and development, employee relations issues. I do recruiting. So I run a whole gamut of HR responsibilities at the food bank. And I do that, like you said, that's my 9-to-5. Then when I get off of work, then I still continue to work on my resume writing business. So I continue to talk to clients in the evening. So we can switch gears a little bit. We're going to talk about Get Noticed resume writing and more. Like you said, this is my side hustle. This is what I do part-time and on the weekend. So I'm essentially working 7 days a week some weeks.
Come on. So tell me, because obviously, Get Noticed resume writing and more is a unique service.
Mm-hmm.
And so before you started it, what really led to you going, I've got a great idea that could help a lot of people? Like what'd that look like?
Yeah. So Get Noticed resume writing and more was born because myself experienced a difficult job search. So when I graduated from college, I was looking to break into the HR field, and I had a very difficult time doing that. I reached out to some of my contacts in my network. I got out there. I was meeting people. I was mingling with people. I was doing all sorts of things because I was trying to find that first job in human resources. Yeah. So when I finally got that opportunity, I looked back on my job search and started thinking about the things that I did wrong. And I wanted to help people not make those same mistakes. So being in the HR field, I do a lot of recruiting. So I felt I could put my talents to use and start my own business and help others have a successful job search. And that's how Get Noticed resume writing and more was born. Essentially from my failures.
Yeah,
in my job search. So
that's what makes you good at it, right? Because you're not just teaching something you haven't already experienced for yourself.
Yeah.
So tell us about, I know, because you told me the other day, it started as just resume help and then cover letters, but it's evolved into LinkedIn. So walk us through kind of the gambit of services that you offer to one of your clients.
Yeah, so you're right. It started off just as me writing resumes for my clients, and then it kind of evolved into doing cover letters, and then it kind of worked its way up from cover letters and resumes to me doing LinkedIn profiles, because as we discussed the other day, LinkedIn is a huge social media platform as well for professionals. So there's, I think, a couple billion people that are on LinkedIn. So, I mean, that right there tells you that the possibilities are endless, right? On LinkedIn. So I felt that was something that I can get into as well, helping people transform their lives. And I call that service LinkedIn profile transformation. So I added that on as well. So once I started helping individuals with that, then I felt, well, why not help others become more self-sufficient and train them how to do their own resumes and train them how to do their own LinkedIn profiles. So I started doing workshops, webinars, for example. So I do those as well. So I also do some in-person classes also. So things have just evolved over the last 7 years, because I still want people to be self-sufficient at the same time. I don't mind doing those services for them, but I also want to be able to help them in the future if they want to write their own resume or do their own LinkedIn profile as well. So I want to help individuals become self-sufficient as well.
So what would you say when you start working with somebody that needs resume help? What's the most common mistake made that you really feel like keeps them from getting that final nod from the employer? Like what do you see messed up the most?
So if we're talking about the resume itself, there's a very old tip that people receive that your resume should only be 1 page. And I think people make that mistake a lot, that they try to fit everything on 1 page. And depending on how long you've been in the workforce, that's not going to work, right? I mean, your resume needs to be able to tell your entire professional story within a certain time frame. So most of our resumes are going to be longer than a page, unless you just graduated from college yesterday or something. So most of the time your resume is going to be more than 1 page. Most resumes that I do hover around a 1.5 to 2 page resume. So I think that's a huge mistake that most of my clients do make. They try to fit everything on 1 page, because that's 10 to 15-year-old advice that no longer applies anymore.
And maybe you're like, they're trying to squeeze it with like 10 font and making it real little. I mean, I'm sure you've seen everything. But
yes, definitely.
You mentioned college students. So I've got a ton of friends who have college age kids. When you've got a college age kid that their past job experience is probably going to be pretty simple things, right? That just the average college kid would do in the summers or during school. So how do you help a young person really ramp it up to appear to be awesome when they may not necessarily have the expertise or the background that somebody else does?
Yeah, that's a great question. So what I really focus on with recent college graduates, or even sometimes kids that are still in college, I like to focus on their activities that they're currently doing in school. So if they're part of any organizations, if they do volunteer work, I like to focus on that. Even class projects as well. They may have a class project that they've worked on that's taken them 2 to 3 to 4 months, or even the entire semester for them to finish that particular project. I want to focus on those sort of things when I'm doing their resume, because employers like to see that. They like to see that you've led projects, that you've gotten out in the community, you've done volunteer work, you've led organizations at your college. So we focus on those things with college age kids, or even if they just recently graduated. Okay.
And is there something that you've seen employers look at, like small details that employers really pay attention to, that the average person writing their own resume might overlook?
Yeah. I mean, you're right. I mean, there are some minor things that employers do look at, and I can tell from my personal recruiting experience, we look at things as small as you putting your entire address on your resume, for example. Some people list out their entire address, but now one of the things that they ask for these days is just list your city, state, and zip code. There's just little things that the recruiter eye sees on your resume, or even something similar to people putting at the bottom of their resume, references available upon request. That is a archaic thing to do on your resume these days, to put your references on your resume. So that's something that, even though it seems minor, it's the significant thing to us, because we no longer do that, because when it's time to get your references, we'll ask you for them. So you don't need to put them on your resume, and applications will ask you for your references as well. So there's no need to put your references on your resume anymore.
So with the food bank, if somebody's applying for a job, do you have in the kind of the outlines of what you want them to give you? Like, do not give us referrals in your resume?
No, we don't actually have that, but there are some companies that may have that in their guidelines, but we don't. But it's one of those unwritten rules that we don't necessarily expect people to know that, because you won't know unless someone tells you, right?
Yeah.
So that's where people like myself come in at. We tell them that they ask for it on your application. They'll ask you for it if you are extended an offer. They'll ask you for those things at that time. You don't have to put it on your resume ahead of time. So it's just one of those unwritten rules not to put your references on your resume.
Well, now we know. So we've got a question from the audience. You want to answer a question?
Yeah.
So Bruce, what's up, Bruce? It's good to see you, man. Thanks for watching. Bruce asks, does a video resume make a difference? If so, how long should it be?
That is a great question. And I've actually had this conversation with some of my other colleagues as well for video resumes. I've heard a little bit about video resumes, but they still haven't gotten to a point yet to where companies are using those over your standard resume.
Okay.
So as far as a video resume is concerned, I mean, if you do one, I wouldn't make it any longer than maybe a few minutes. If you do one, if someone asks for a video resume.
A few minutes. So what are we talking, like maybe 2-3 minutes?
I would probably say 3 to 3.5 minutes.
Okay.
3 to 3.5 minutes.
And so Marvin, Bruce might be somebody good for you to connect with, because he owns a company that does video services.
Okay.
And so we know each other through the real estate space, but he could easily help somebody put together a really cool 3-minute video that would be incredible to send along with a resume.
Okay, fantastic. Yeah, definitely, for sure, we can do that.
Because I would be, I'm kind of a rebel, but I would be the guy, right, that would go, man, if they could see me on video and they could feel my energy and my passion, so I would probably be the guy that would send a video regardless, because I just feel like it would help me, even though maybe it wouldn't.
But with the video resumes, if you want to put yourself on video and explain your professional experience, LinkedIn is a good tool for that as well. Yeah, because they have a feature in LinkedIn where you can upload media, and perhaps that can be one of the places on your LinkedIn profile where you can place that video resume. And recruiters who are scouring LinkedIn, they can go to your profile and watch that video.
That's a great idea. I love that idea. Look at that. Bruce coming in strong with the question. Elizabeth Dixon also said, thanks, man. Wow, great advice for a ton of friends. So that's what this is about, guys. I want y'all to know in these spotlights, right? The reason I'm bringing Marvin on is because I know people that he doesn't know. And so I know y'all know people that he doesn't know. You don't know him. And so let's come together as a community and really love on each other and help each other get your businesses out there, because that's what run this world, right? Is the entrepreneurs out there hustling. So Marvin, I want to step away from getting noticed resumes and more for a second, because you told me, I have everybody fill out a questionnaire before I interview you, because I'm trying to dig and get some interesting info. And so I asked you, what's something interesting that most people may not know about you? And I was pretty shocked by what your answer was. So tell us what's that thing that people may not know that you've done in your past?
Yeah, thank you for actually bringing that up. So I've taught job and employment skill classes at the Dallas County Jail. So I taught there for about a year. It was a course. Excuse me. It was a course through El Centro Community College. They have a partnership with Dallas County Jail. And obviously, as part of their rehabilitation program, they have these courses that they offer to inmates. And I actually stepped in to teach those classes. So for individuals that were being released, we wanted to help them with their employment skills and work with them on interviewing and putting together a resume. So yeah, a lot of people don't know that about me. So I like to put that out there and let them know that that is something that I did for about a year.
So what was that like? Like, were you nervous when you first took on that assignment? Like, what was that experience like?
Yeah, I will say it was a little nerve-wracking because most of us don't teach at jails, right? At county jails, right? So it was a little bit nerve-wracking at first, but once you walk through those doors and get in that classroom and you're interacting with the inmates, it was a really eye-opening, positive experience for me because I knew what I was doing was making a positive impact in helping those individuals who are obviously going to have a more challenging time trying to find employment when they leave jail. And that's what we were there for, helping soothe that transition. So when they do get out of jail, they have some knowledge and, they know where to look for jobs. We provide them a list of companies that do hire individuals with criminal background. So it was a very rewarding experience.
Man, that's awesome. Thank you for serving in that capacity. That's super cool. So, man, as we wrap up, tell us with everybody that's watching, what does your ideal client look like for you? Because I know technically you could help anybody, but who do you really feel like you can serve in the greatest capacity in your business?
Yeah, great question. So the ideal client for me is typically going to be your entry level to mid-level professionals. And when I say entry level, obviously we're talking about individuals who just graduated from college. They may have only been out of college maybe a year, 2 years at the most. They're still trying to get their feet wet in the corporate or corporate environment. Or you have your mid-level professional who has been in the workforce for maybe 3 to 5 years, somewhere around in that time frame. So they're still trying to work their way up the corporate ladder, as a lot of people like to say. So I really focus on those individuals, but I do also work with senior level clients as well. Someone that may hold a vice president position, a senior director position. So I work with them as well, because you'll be surprised how many individuals who hold vice president positions or executive director positions, they don't know how to write resumes. You'd probably be surprised.
I mean, what I'm learning from you is that it doesn't really matter how intelligent you are. Like your intelligence doesn't mean you can just write a great resume. Right. Because it's all about the detail. I'm sure there's so many different tactics that you're applying, to have somebody read it well. And so I just think it's a service that you would naturally just not think about until you didn't get called back. And that could have played a role in why that happened.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I mean, that's something, that I definitely do take pride in, because if you're working with someone, in some cases, I've worked with people who haven't done a resume in 10 plus years. Right. So obviously, if you're trying to get back into the workforce or find another job after 10 plus years, it's a little challenging for some people. So, I mean, that's where we step in and to help people put together a resume that's going to be able to sell themselves when it's time to look for a job.
That's great, man. And so before we sign off, Marvin, you've got a workshop, I think, coming up. And so you wanna tell us about that?
Yeah. So I have a workshop that is supposed to be scheduled for this Thursday, but I'm actually going to be pushing it back a couple of weeks because I want to give people some more time to sign up for it. So it's going to be a resume writing workshop, and I'm going to post more information about it on Facebook. For those individuals that are listening, I'll be posting it on my business page, actually, and that's Getting This Resume Writing and More LLC on Facebook. So keep an eye out for that, and I'll post that in my event section for everyone to check it out and sign up for it.
And so, if you will, when you post that, go ahead and share that link in the comments of this video.
Okay.
Just to make it easier for people to find it if they don't remember to go find you first. And so Marvin, what's the easiest way for people to find you directly and communicate with you?
Yeah, so I am on social media on both Facebook and Instagram. So you can actually contact me through my business page, and I'll post the info on Facebook. Get Notice Resume Writing and More LLC, and I'm also on Instagram at The Resume Guy. So that's pretty easy, right? You can find that. Look me up on Instagram at The Resume Guy. You can contact me on either page. That'd be the quickest way to get a hold of me, and then we could chat.
All right, we've got 2 more questions. So I was going to sign off, but the people want more. People want more of Marvin. So Elizabeth asks, what about a video cover letter? Have you heard of anybody doing that?
I have not heard of anyone doing a video cover letter. I've heard talks about it, but there's really not many industries that I'm aware of that do video cover letters. Not to say that won't be something we'll transition to in the near future, because I'm always staying abreast on all of the resume writing and cover letter topics that are floating around out there. But I'll definitely look into that.
Okay, cool. And then the last question is, Bruce asks, he says, I've been told that a person seeking a job should have a custom resume for each application, as you need keywords in the resume to match keywords in the job description. Does he agree? That's deep. I don't even know.
Yes, I do. That is actually that is I'm glad Bruce brought that up. I tell my clients that all the time, that there's not such a thing. There's not such a thing as a generic resume. Your resume needs to be customized for each particular job and or industry that you're looking to get into, or position that you're looking for. It needs to be customized for that particular job. So yes, Bruce is correct.
Bruce is on fire with the questions. So that's great. Marvin, bro, it's so great to see you. Give Ebony our love from the Drapers. And man, I hope this brings great value to your business. And man, if there's ever anything I can do for you, don't hesitate to holler at me. Thanks for being on here with me.
All right. I appreciate it, Kyle. I appreciate your time this evening, and thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. Guys, thanks for watching episode number 1 of Entrepreneur Spotlight. I'll be back next week with episode number 2, so stay tuned. If you know anybody that would be great to be interviewed on this show, tag them in the comments. Get this out there, because I'd love to talk to them about them being a future guest with me right here on Entrepreneur Spotlight. Guys, thanks for watching. Have a great week. See ya.